Business is about freedom. Okay, like I said, in the financial crisis, I did not want to go back to work and handcuff myself to a big corporation. So I was looking for a business that I could be free. So I didn't click, and I'm going to have to ask you to be our clicker. So there are three kinds of freedom. Then this is about the fundamentals. We provide things that are fundamental to human existence. There's a philosopher called Maslow, the Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. Number one is survival. There are two kinds of survival up here. By the way, this totally correlates with the Eastern philosophy of the chakra. The first chakra is survival. Health, we've got to have health to survive. Number two is money. In our society, you need money to survive. Those are two kinds of financial freedom. And then time, to enjoy them, is actually about self-actualization, which is a much higher chakra. In between is the second chakra, or Maslow hierarchy, which is what? What's after you survive, what does every organism want to do? Reproduce. Okay, well, this is a fundamental thing. So we want to be more attractive, correct? For whatever reason. And do we do that? We absolutely do. We help people look younger and more attractive. So it's hard to have all three of these. I know investment bankers, they have lots of money, but very little time, and after a while they don't have their health. Same with a lot of lawyer friends of mine. And then there are people like students or the retired who have plenty of time but no money. It's very rare to find people with all three of those. One of our leaders calls this a type 5 person. Next slide. Now you're probably gonna have to keep clicking. So just go through all these. So I probably should have put all 12 out. So tell me, it's gonna go to 12. No, go back, sorry. And you're gonna have to click forward. It's only 11. So tell me, these are the things that we provide. Tell me which of those are things that any of you would like. Do you know anyone who'd be interested in any of that? For you, what jumps out at you? Is there one thing?
Well, with the financial freedom, of course.
Okay.
Meeting new people.
Okay, good. So you're a social person. Anyone else? Is there one thing that for some people, is just one thing that jumps out?
Helping others.
Helping others? He's a nurturer. We know that.
Spare time.
Spare time. Okay. All these things are things that we provide. Sorry, next slide. So, go ahead one more slide forward. There are two lifestyles. I show this to millennials. My sons are 23 and 21. They're just starting out in life. So when you're starting out, you're going to acquire skills. You're going to go to school for 25 years. Go ahead. Then you're going to utilize those skills. It's called a 40-year plan. And then you retire at 65. Hopefully you got 5-10 years of health, and then it goes downhill from there. This is the accepted, work hard, study hard, work hard, have a brief retirement, and then kind of have a miserable last 5 years. These people are working so hard, they don't know there's another lifestyle. Go ahead. And lifestyle 2 is you're still going to study. We want you to go to a 4-year university, although that model, I think, is going to break in the next 20 years. Education costs are going up at least 8% a year. Does anyone know what does it cost to go to Santa Clara University or Stanford now?
A lot.
A lot. About $60,000. When you add the cost of housing, we're talking $80,000, $90,000 a year. Nobody can afford this. The student debt that people come out with means that they cannot get a mortgage. They can't get on the first ladder of asset accumulation. This model is going to go away some way via the internet or something. But anyway, right now we want you to get educated one way or the other and enjoy the social interaction, the network you create. Then you work hard. You get a job working in a doctor's office, working as a stockbroker, as an accountant. Then you also work smart. And in the cracks of a busy life, you build up an annuity that if you want to dial back at your job, you want to travel in Europe, you want to take care of your sick mother, you can. And you live the last 5 years of your life instead of broken health in robust good health. So which lifestyle do you guys prefer? Which one do you prefer?
Number 2.
Number 2. Some people don't. Some people just want to double check. I show this to people who are 40 years and older. This is research by the Social Security Administration and Hartford Insurance. At 40, what happens to people 25 years later? 1/3 are dead. It's just the grim reality of the Grim Reaper. Half are dead broke. 5% are still working, usually because they have to. 4% are well-to-do, but usually they're not as well-to-do as they'd hope for, and only 1% are the uber wealthy. And this is a real problem in society right now. Some of what I see as a really nasty political environment is this becoming really apparent to people, and the debate on what to do about it. So should we get really angry? Should we get into that political debate, or should we focus on being the 1%? What do you want to do tonight? What would you like to do? Be the 99% and be angry, or the 1% and what would you like to do?
1%.
Okay, so let's look at the 1%. Next slide. In every society, this is basically true. 1% of the wealthy sing really well, throw a ball, run fast, and we read about their exploits, how many divorces and affairs they're having in the tabloids at the checkout counter of the supermarket, right? 5% are super salespeople. Sales is important at IBM, Morgan Stanley. Any company is going to pay people a lot because if things aren't sold, there's no business and everyone's out of work. Now, when they stop selling, do they still get paid? Okay, we're going to show you a different model. 10% are CEOs of wealth. They work their way up to the top of a corporate pyramid. They get paid more if the corporation goes out of business or is acquired, typically. It's called a golden parachute. And they work their way up, and everyone else is out of the way and they're the top dog. 10% are doctors and lawyers. But increasingly, the poor doctors have been running from the lawyers 20 years ago, and now they're running from the insurance system, which is broken. The number of independent doctors has fallen from 68% in 2008 to 50% in 2012. To the end of 2014, it was 32%, and the estimates I've heard for now is only 25%. They're all going to work for Kaiser, as a colleague down the hall who I really like. And what happens at Kaiser? They get vacations and so forth, but there's a restructuring every 2 years. And some of those doctors, after putting all that time and motion and 12 years of medical school, are out of work. The system is broken. 3/4 of wealth in any society is from people owning their own business. Who here has owned their own business? Obviously, you have a business here. Yourself? Okay. We're going to talk about the different businesses. Next slide. There are 3 aspects to think about. How much you're going to put in to invest, whether this has time freedom for you, and the risk. Okay? Let's look first at traditional businesses, small businesses. This is what typically immigrants start because it's such hard work. And you look, the Vietnamese have nail salons and faux restaurants everywhere, and they're doing the traditional immigrant model of doing that while they put their children into engineering, doctor, lawyer, and the professions. It costs a lot of money to start a business like that. $50,000 to $300,000. Is there time freedom? No. Right? The business owns you. And there's a lot of risk. 80% of businesses fail in the first 1 year. And of the survivors between years 2 and 5, 80% of those survivors fail. Do the math, it's a 4% survival rate. You have a better chance of surviving serious cancer than traditional entrepreneurship, really. Which is why Americans surveyed, 65% of us say we want our own business, but only 5% do it because we know the risk is high. Next slide. Let's just go through all 3. Franchises is entrepreneurship light. In the 1950s, there was a franchise that was very famous. What is it? The Golden Arches, right? Ray Kroc. And it's still, right now, does anyone know how much it costs to buy a McDonald's franchise?
A lot.
$1.5 million. A Subway sandwich shop is $250,000. If you have a, let's say you have a Starbucks franchise, $250,000. Do you have time freedom if you run that franchise? If you don't show up, do necessarily the baristas show up? No. And if you're not there, do the baristas give free coffee to their friends?
Yes.
You have to be there. Tell me, is there any day of the year that a Starbucks is closed?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. There's about maybe one, possibly 2 years, two days in a year.
There's one
So-
in Concord 24 hours now.
Wow.
You know, these things are going to, there's a 24-hour drive-through at McDonald's now. If you own a franchise, the franchise owns you. Did you know that most franchises you cannot pass on to your children? If you die, McDonald's you can. But if you die with a Subway, it doesn't go back to your children. You've spent 10 years building this business, and it goes back to the Subway franchise company, the super company. They're less risky. What are franchises? Franchises are a system. The French fries are the same in Times Square and Tiananmen Square and Red Square, right? And we're going to go back to the McDonald's and the Starbucks model in a minute. Brokerages are, I'm going to go very quickly, they cost a lot of money, but they have an interesting dynamic of time freedom. If you've got a real estate brokerage and one of your 5 brokers sells a house, 3% selling commission, the broker keeps 2%, you get 1% because you own the company. And that's what we're going to talk about, is leverage in your business. So when people work, you also get paid. The risk of those is, with the volatility in markets, has been more. Web-based businesses. Would everyone agree that a lot of business is moving out of brick and mortar here? So web-based, there's very little financial leverage. You don't need much to get started, unless you're going to build Amazon, and then Amazon is the river of no return. They just keep spending money to build out till they drive everyone else out of business. Then they're going to make a lot of profit. Time freedom. If I'm selling combs, beautiful Hawaiian combs on eBay and Amazon, when I'm asleep and someone orders this in the East Coast, I get paid. Risk. If I decide to close down my website, do I have a lot of risk? No. That's why so many people are attracted to web businesses. Guess what? We are in 54 countries, and in 52 of them, you are online in 10 major languages for free. We are a web-based business. This is networking. How much does it cost to join Nuskin? Zero. I'm going to show you that that's a problem. Everything that's good about our business has a downside to it, and is the fundamental flaw in our business and the frustration that people have as they do the business. But if you understand it, it's actually the positive. And you need to know that to keep going and not quit. Time freedom. I come here because I want to, and it fits my schedule. There are events that I go to by choice. We always say we can't hire, we can't fire, we can only inspire. There's no boss telling you to do anything. It's your own business, and you do it because you know it's going to work, and you're following a system that your mentors have shown you that works. What's the risk? If you decide to exit this business, is there any risk? Is there? 90% of the products you have inventory, maybe $1,000 of inventory, change your mind, you can return it up to a year unopened for 90% of your money back. You're at risk for $100 for a business that can pay you like I'm going to show you. Now that is a great thing, isn't it? Rather than spending $100,000 of Uncle Ernie's and your savings, and then it goes wrong because you're the 96% that fail, and Uncle Ernie will never talk to you again at Thanksgiving. Is that a good model?
No.
No. But I'm going to tell you that the problem is that we don't have skin in the game. Because skin in the game is what creates fear, and fear is what will motivate people to get out of bed, mind over mattress, and get stuff done, unfortunately. If you want to live a life of fear, do a traditional business. But if you get this, you're going to live a much better life with a business with a lot more upside. But you got to avoid these traps because it looks so good, and that's a trap. Next slide. It's called a social business model. Corporate America is spending billions of dollars to market on Facebook. We all fast forward past the ads now. TV doesn't work. There's just too much. And basically we're back to the original marketing. The first marketing document was the Sears catalog. Before that, how did farmers know which plow to use? Word of mouth. And word of mouth is still the most powerful way. And we're learning how to harness it via social media now. What's changed for our business is actually the timing has come together in a unique way that this is the most amazing time for this business model. Next slide. It's really, for me, just from a consumer viewpoint, it's just a better distribution model. So this is multi-level markup. We studied this in Harvard Business School. Production and operations management, international trade, marketing over here. And learning all the ins and outs of retail, the 6 Ps, right, of retail. We learned all these buzzwords at HBS. I can't remember half of them. At the end of multi-level markup, all these people have to get paid. The ingredient cost in vitamins, if there's anything on the label that you buy at CVS, is 1 to 5%. When you buy a skincare product at Nordstrom's or Needless Markup, where is the kiosk? Is it in the 6th floor or is it by the front door? By the front door, right? Why? Why do they put it near the front door? It's the highest profit margin in that whole store. Anything near the door is the highest profit margin in a retail location. You got that? That's what you would do if you owned that store. You want an impulse purchase. I always thought it's because the women behind the counters were so pretty it would lure me in. But no, it's that. So if you're lucky to have the ingredients, 1 to 5%. So if you go, our business is direct, and everything, would you agree, is going direct? People are buying on Amazon instead of the stores out here. A lot of pain. These people are going out of work. That's the new normal. They need another opportunity. Our ingredient cost is 22% of the highest quality. 88% of us are only in it for that. I call this anti-aging coffee that we sell. And it's a virtual franchise in 54 countries in the world with no geographic barriers that you can run off a laptop and a smartphone from your lanai or while you shop in the streets of Paris. 22%, 88% of us aren't interested in that, in being an owner of the franchise. 88% are lined up for the anti-aging coffee. They want better skin, better hair, look and feel younger. We have it for them. Wouldn't you want a franchise where people are lined up out the door for it? So let's finish the numbers. So 88% are just customers. 9% of us are baristas. We're part-time. We treat it like a hobby, and so we're paid like a hobby. And a couple hours a week, we recommend to a few friends. We're getting enough to pay for our products. We're in the compensation plan, maybe a distributor or a first-level executive. And that's okay. We need the customers, we need those people too. And some of them are on the path to get more money, and some are happy there. And some just aren't coachable and don't have the gumption to take it to the next level. And you have to understand that. And if you want to take it to the next level, you have to be coachable. If you joined Starbucks, would there be a training program? Yeah. Would you have to go to Seattle? If you refused to go to Seattle, do you think that they would give you the franchise? No. If you joined IBM, there's a 3-month apprenticeship and training program. If you refuse to show up for the first weekend training, what would IBM do to you? Absolutely. But because we have so little skin in this game, we don't treat it seriously like this. So 9% are baristas. 2% are middle management, make $5,000 to $50,000 a year. It's a listed company. I'll show you the numbers at the end. And 1% of us make a serious amount of money, $50,000 to $500,000 a year. What is the reaction of Wall Street and the uninformed? 1% are making money. It's a pyramid scheme. The real pyramid is out here in corporate America. If you look at corporations, there's one guy who makes $5 to $10 million. 6 senior vice presidents, usually male, usually white. All that's changing, fortunately. And they make $500,000. And there's 60,000 or 10,000 who make 50,000 to 100,000. Who gets laid off every 2 years? The top 7 or 6? No, it's the rank and file, and they're constantly being laid off. GE had a program of laying off every single year 10% of their workforce. Kindler, gentler GE? I don't think so. It was a great company, and they were basically culling. They had 120,000 employees, and they were culling them every single year. And they probably had to because there were that many. So the real pyramid is corporate America. What's one of the most respected companies here in Silicon Valley? Right down the road. It's the second largest company now by market cap. It was number one about a year ago. Starts with an A. Apple. $200 billion in sales. Great company. Who here has an Apple product? Love it. And $200 billion in sales. And 9 people in Apple will make over $500,000 a year. Now they have stock options. Yes, it's creating wealth. What happens if the stock goes to zero? Apple's been in a downtrend in the stock market for a year now. In our company, $2.7 billion in sales last year. 885 of us make more than $500,000 a year. Get this, everything is a pyramid. Dr. Rowland's business is a pyramid. Where do you work?
I'm working for Nuskin now.
Okay, but where did you work before?
I was a chef.
A chef, so you had your own business, or you worked for someone else.
So,
So you were in an organization, and there was maybe a hierarchy, right? Get this, everything's a pyramid. It just matters whether it's your pyramid or someone else's, the culture within the pyramid and what the pyramid's mission is. So are you inspired by that organization? A pyramid is a stable structure. The Egyptians invented it. And they've lasted for centuries of control and command. So when you hear the pyramid thing, you've got to understand this, that you're creating your own pyramid, and the dynamic is only if you help other people succeed. Who's your sponsor? Jeff and Pam. Fantastic. You're not going to succeed unless you do. You sputter, their heart is broken, and they are only going to succeed if they help you and 11 other people like you. You're getting that? And you get that feeling from them, right? You don't get that in corporate America. What is the pyramid like in corporate America? Elbow the person aside, get to be the CEO, get to be in that top level of 6, right? That's not the case. There's always room for people because it's a complete inverse pyramid. I'm spending too long on this slide. Next one. Can I have a time check? I should have a little thing.
22 minutes.
This is the first, there's a great book called The 45-Second Presentation That Will Change Your Life. It's on our reading list. It takes you 45 minutes to read all 12 chapters. This is the first chapter. Go ahead and hit it. This is you, if this is your first time looking at this, you're a pebble in a pond. You use the skincare, you use the nutritionals, you tell 5 people. Who then tell 5 people. Who then tell 5 people, who tell 5 people, who tell 5 people. Out to 6 degrees of separation, the title of a book by which we supposedly know everyone in the world. This takes, I don't know how long it'll take for you. For me, it took me 14 years to wake up to the business side. But the average now is about 3 years because of the speed of communications and how awesome the products are becoming, that people notice it. And go ahead and hit it. If in that pond that the ripples are now crossing, that's a total of 20,000 families. We're using, let's say, $100 US a month. That's $2 million in monthly consumption. We pay out 5% down 6 levels. That's $100,000 in income that's possible. Is that enough to kind of wake anyone up in here? Is that a number that's kind of okay? I could maybe work hard for that. Okay, and know this, that only in our numbers, 0.2% of us make that. Okay? I'm always going to tell you the exact numbers. And it's basically, and we can tell you what the keys to success to do that, and I'll show you that in the very last slide. Thanks. The other way to look at it is if you're working in someone else's pyramid, you know, you're on an hourly, weekly, monthly plan. You know how much time you're going to, like hours of, like grains of sand in the hourglass of your life. You know how much money you're going to make. Next one. In this, this is time leverage. And it may not be this business, but find something that if all 20,000 people wake up, and remember, 88% are just customers, but just for illustration, 20,000 people, one fine day say,